Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today it's the day after Christmas, December 26th, and you might notice behind me through the window there's a lot of snow outside. We didn't actually have a white Christmas here where I live, but we do have a white day after Christmas, and if you stay till the end of the video, I'll show you a little bit more video of what it looks like outside and the snow falling earlier today. So today what I wanted to do, as we come towards the end of the year, I want to talk a little bit about my caregiver, John, who passed away this past April. And also to talk a little bit about, caregivers in general and, what they do for people with disabilities and some of the logistical challenges that people with disabilities go through if they need a caregiver to help them live independently. Now, I have a form of muscular dystrophy which causes progressive weakness. I first started to have symptoms about 40 years ago, and so over those 40 years, my weakness and therefore my need for someone to help me with various things in my life and various everyday tasks has increased. Now, I first met John in 1997, so about 24 years ago. I had bought a house, but then realized that I sort of needed someone to actually at the time not help me personally, but just help with, chores around the house and, things like shopping and meal preparation. So I met John through my cousin who, at the time lived near me, both in the Washington, D.C. area, and John was a coworker of his. And so my cousin thought that, John needed a place to live. I needed someone to sort of help me out with various things at the time. We moved in together, and that was our status for 24 years, which is an extraordinarily long time for someone in kind of a caregiving relationship. Now, things gradually evolved over the years. I started to need more help in everyday things, eventually, getting dressed, getting out of bed in the morning, taking showers, and John stepped in and filled those roles. So really, he was a huge boon to me. I like to think that I was able to, help him with, some, things in his life that, he needed advice or assistance with. But, really it was a, wonderful, mutually beneficial arrangement. I think it, helped us both out tremendously. I miss him very much, and, I just wanted to, say publicly an expression of my appreciation for everything he did for me. We were essentially, locked up in a house for over a year with the advent of COVID, and that was very stressful, as it would be on any two people. But we didn't have any major issues. We got through it. We were just about to start thinking about rejoining the world after having gotten vaccinated. And, then he passed very suddenly, and, well, I can't say it was completely unexpectedly, because he did have some health issues, but, it was really, he just said he wasn't feeling well and went to lie down. I was on a video conference, and half an hour later, when I went to check on him, he was unresponsive, and called the paramedics, but they were unable to revive him. And it was one of the worst days of my life, and just a very challenging situation. I have to say, a huge word of appreciation for all of my, co-workers at the Jane Foundation where I work. And literally, I had not seen any of them in over a year, because of COVID, but I just told them what happened, and they were right on it, and then, gave me a lot of assistance, finding someone to step in and, provide care, because I, still had my care needs. And fortunately, I'm happy to say I found a wonderful caregiver very soon after that, and I wouldn't say that things turned out well, but things turned out as well as can be expected, with such a sudden shock and sad event. So to expand the scope a little besides just myself, I want to say that finding caregivers, or personal care assistants as they're sometimes called, is very challenging for people with any kind of disability, especially something like a neuromuscular condition, which is progressive in nature, but is very long-term, and you may need care for not only years but decades. A lot of the way that the system is set up, it assumes that people only need care when they're older, and that it's going to be a short-term thing because they're likely at the end of their life. It's not set up for people who might be wanting to work, have skills, need physical assistance, but don't just want to, sit in a room and be taken care of. You want to do things, you want to work, you want to contribute in some meaningful way. But a lot of the way that things are set up are kind of tend to work against that. For instance, how to pay for care. I'm in an incredibly fortunate situation where that's not a big concern for me, but it is for the vast majority of people with neuromuscular diseases. And you can only get official help from the government in the US, usually through Medicaid, but there's a lot of restrictions. You have to have a limited income, although there's some programs that, where, every US state does things a little bit differently. There's also tends to be a very strict limit on what assets you are. The prudent thing is, you should, if you're working, you should save some of your money, for a rainy day or in case something happens. Well, a lot of times if you do that, you have too much in assets, and then you disqualify yourself for getting assistance to pay for someone to provide personal care services. Also, you can get penalized if you get married. So, there's a lot of stories about people who would love to get married but can't because if they have a spouse, then that causes a recalculation of what benefits they're entitled to and might disqualify them totally. Or they have a job, but their boss likes them, wants to give them a raise. They would love to do that, but if they make too much money, they aren't able to do that. So, now that's just a snapshot. Every person's situation is different, and every situation geographically is different. It's different in different countries. It's different even in different states within the U.S. But I just wanted to bring people's attention to that. That's kind of a big problem in my view that is holding people with disabilities who might have a lot of skills. I can do a lot of things, but I just can't get out of bed in the morning without someone to help me. And that's the situation for a lot of people. But they'd like to do something meaningful with their lives, and they shouldn't be disqualified from doing that just because of the way that the system is set up, that doesn't realize that there are people with long-term needs, but who can make very significant contributions. So anyway, I just wanted to say that about finding carers in general, and a particular appreciation for John, my departed caregiver, for all that he did for me, and a word of thanks for all of my coworkers and also my neighbors for stepping in when I really needed help and support. I very much appreciate that. So I'll leave you with some video of the quite pretty winter scene that we have the day after Christmas where I live, and I hope that all of you, if you celebrate Christmas, had a wonderful holiday, wishing you a wonderful New Year, and peace and happiness on earth. Thank you for watching.